Hi, and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. This is Fritz, just coming to you as we've heard of a brand new blockbuster trade. We see that Kevin Durant has finally been traded. So, this is the trade we've seen coming from February when he originally was not dealt and he was upset. We knew this trade was coming. He felt disrespected. We know he wanted to go elsewhere. It came down to where was he going to go. Um, Knicks has always been on his list. We see some other teams from Florida, other teams from other places, but we see ultimately he was dealt to the Houston Rockets. And Houston Rockets is one of those teams that has pretty much everything um, every team would want in a trade. So their name is constantly coming up. Whether it's been a deal for KD, whether it's a deal for um, Giannis. They're a team that uh, has slowly built from scratch and it's ascending team. As even though second in the West, they have still a lot of potential to go where they want to. So we see ultimately this deal, and we're gonna just look at it really quickly. So ultimately, he was traded for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, and 5 second round picks. This is not as large as what a lot of people were talking just a few weeks ago. Um, Looks like the Suns wanted a king's ransom. They they didn't get that. They didn't get uh, any of the big wings from the Rockets. Uh, People like Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, uh, they weren't included in this trade. So why did they do it? Well, they kind of impose a deadline on this to happen. Also, Kevin Durant had a lot to do with what was going on in this trade. There were other teams that were interested in Kevin Durant who could probably put together a better deal with younger players that the Suns could have built for. But Kevin Durant's people behind the scenes, they did those trades. You see, Minnesota was willing to include players like Dillingham, um, better players than maybe Brooks in this trade. But we see that the Rockets went out. We see the Rockets pretty much gave up pieces they can spare. Jalen Green, I know a lot of people look at what they'll do is they'll look at the stat sheet and they say, hey, 21 points a game. Yeah, they got them a star. But Jalen Green absolutely bombed in the playoffs. Absolutely bombed in the playoffs. And I think it confirmed to the Rockets that he wasn't their guy in the future. Up until this point, with the Rockets, they've kind of looked at Jalen question mark, like potential star, potential role player, and then I think that playoff series just confirmed to them like he was never going to be the big star that they needed. Like he that he had to be a trade piece to get them what they wanted, and ultimately Kevin Durant is the piece they got. Um, they kind of sold high on him because I think he would had to do a lot to overcome that playoff performance. Coming back and scoring 21 points a game wouldn't have restored that. He would need like to redeem himself in the playoffs, not shrinking in the moment to redeem his value. So I think that was a great idea. So why does Phoenix do this? Well, they had to deal KD. One of the key things this summer for the Suns is shedding salary. This trade does not shed any salary. In fact, it actually adds to their salary because the trade, I think the difference is around 40,000. Not a lot of money, but it adds number 10 pick, and a number 10 pick gets paid over $6 million. That hasn't that wasn't like the $6 million isn't added in the trade. That $6 million becomes real when they select the player. So they actually added salary. So this is not the end of the line for Phoenix. Expect more deals from Phoenix, and I expect more deals for the Rockets. So I think a lot of teams at this point can move on. If you're a Knicks fan like I am, the Knicks have moved on. Like, once they were talking about multiple first round picks, they were talking about getting a king's ransom. I think the Knicks are out. I think the Knicks are out when it wasn't once KD couldn't force them to take just anything for him. He's 37 years old. I think the Knicks would have been interested if it was Mikal Bridges and salary filler. If they could just make the numbers work, I think the Knicks would have did it. I just don't think they wanted to empty out the young guys, and they didn't want to empty out all their picks for Kevin Durant, who's not going to lead the team. He's going to score, but he's not going to lead. I don't think they were willing to do that. That's something that they would do for Giannis, because Giannis is the leader. They're not going to do that for Kevin Durant. We're not a team that's like desperate. Rockets aren't desperate, but they got it at the right price. They're such a deep team that this doesn't hurt them in any way. Okay, so what do I expect going forward? So I expect the Suns to flip Jalen Green. Like, Jalen Green's a nice young piece. I think he could put butts in seats. Like, he's that type of player. So I think he would do well in that aspect if they wanted to sell tickets, but that's not their thing. So what I expect him. They can't trade Jalen Green for 60 days, but I think they're going to try to trade Jalen Green. And one of the teams I would say is ripe to take Jalen Green is the Utah Jazz. And I've been telling people the Jazz, Danny Ainge, he loves to collect picks. But when he loves to collect picks, he loves drafting these players. You have to pay them, and he's there now. But he also likes taking bad contracts, or players who have low value. Take them, try to rehab their value, and resell them. So somebody I got who was a low performer. Hey, if I don't have to give you a whole bunch of picks for him, I'll take him and I'll rehab his value and I'll offer him to somebody else for 2 first-round picks. That's the kind of thing that he's doing. He's kind of rehabbing value. And I think maybe their next project is Jalen Green, buying low on Jalen Green. And I don't know if I can show you guys that. So we're going to go to Fanspo, which is one of those trading websites. And I'm going to have to go to the Suns because they haven't been traded on. He hasn't been traded on the site yet. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. He's still in Houston. And then we'll go down to the Jazz. Okay, we can see this. Okay, so you said Jalen Green, 33.3 million. So who could we get over Houston? So actually, this is the Suns, but we have to use them. So probably the Suns can get Colin Sexton. Jordan Clarkson. And you're right there at 100,000. And Phoenix has a few first round picks. So one of the things I kind of expect someone in that vein. Um, can the Suns flip Jalen Green for someone like Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and a pick? Something like that I can see Houston doing. That's kind of their MO. That's what they kind of do. 15 contracts that they have here. Um, that's even 4 draft picks. And right now, they have 4 draft picks that they're picking. So it doesn't. It looks like they have to consolidate, and this is one way they can consolidate picks. Um, as far as Houston, I think this is a great pickup for them. They lost Dylan Brooks, one of their better defenders. He kind of gave them that edge, but this gives more opportunity to Tari Eason to play Asura Thompson. I'm sorry, Amen Thompson. At this point, is going to try to start him at this point. So this gets them more to their ideal lineup. I think if Giannis ever hits the market, they still would be ready to make a deal happen. So, yep, that's what I have for now. So, you see it's official. Rockets land Kevin Durant. We'll see what's going to come up next for these teams.